Good morning, dear hearts. Look at this beauty here. This is a perfect gift for any young girl in your family. This DIY can be made for a little of nothing. In fact, I made her for about 50 cents. Most of the things I had in the craft room, but I did spend 50 cents for the book. If you're interested in how you can make this perfect gift, stay tuned. Okay, the simple materials that you're going to need for this craft to make the doll will be some scrap material, your hot glue gun stick, your carving knife. I actually MacGyvered this knife earlier. I have a video up on showing you how I made this office knife out of cardboard, a paintbrush, and some tacky glue or PVA. And the main material will be a book. So you want to get a book that's at least 200 pages of readable writing. That's basically what you need. I'm just going to move them to the side a little bit. And we'll get started. So what you want to do when you first start is get your book with your 200 pages. I'm just going to get a couple extra because I may have to remove a few. And you just want to take the book and cut the pages that you want out. You can leave the binding on with a paperback. I leave these on with a hardback book. You'll cut the book all the way out of the binding. So I'll do that just so you can see what that looks like. You just want to go down the seam. In a hardback book, there's generally 2 pages on the end, and you'll cut between those. And these are not readable pages here, but I don't think I'm going to use the end of the book anyway. And just get to the readable pages and cut that off. And this is called book folding. So all we're gonna do is get to our 200 pages. This book is about 436 pages, so I can probably get another doll out of here if I take about 220 pages. I'll take this for purposes, and then I'll just separate those off. Save those for another doll. So now you have your book with your 200 pages. Depending on how big you want your doll to stand, you can cut the book in half, and she'll be a little lower than the one I have. Because I'm in the office and not a lot of space, I'm gonna cut this one in half and make her come down a little shorter than the one that I showed you in the beginning. I'm just going to guesstimate at half You could take a ruler and really measure half, but I want a little bit bigger than half, I think. So you just want to carve the book in half. Try to keep that line really straight. You could take a ruler there and keep the edge straight. That can help. And just work your way through until you're all the way through the book. I'm going to do that so that I don't take too much time, and I'll come back. Okay, so I have the book cut in half, and that's the two halves. I'm just going to put this one to the side. I'm going to keep the longer half for the folding. And all we simply have to do is fold our 200 pages. And so to get the folds right, we want to pull the top down to the printable margin, right to where the words start, and you want to make a fold. You want to kind of make your folds really crisp. And that's fold number 1. You're just going to do the same thing for all 200 pages. I kind of use my finger as a guide up at the top. This extra piece of fold will be the bottom of the skirt, what she'll stand on. Okay. And every now and then you just want to put your pages together and see if you're getting them even. You'll feel when it's kind of off, and you just want to kind of make sure that they're even. And you just refold it so that you have that little extra piece right there. And then you see that it evens up. And that's all you do. I use my, got glue on my fingers. Use my middle finger in between the margin and where the words start. And that kind of helps me keep on track. And that's all we do. We just simply fold the pages. Oh, the one thing I didn't tell you in your materials was you're going to need a doll. So I'm going to fold these and then we'll come back. But before we go, I want to show you what we do with the doll. So I have a couple dolls, and I'll decide which one I'm going to use. But what you have to do is take your doll. You're going to take your doll and you're going to cut her body in half. You'll take your knife and you'll saw it right at the waistband. Most of the dolls have little pants, underpants on, and there's a line, and you just saw in half. I found that I had to use like a hacksaw, a small saw, or I got from the dollar store, was more effective than the box cutters. But you can use this, but it'll take a long time. If you have one of those little saws that you can get from the dollar store, it makes the process easier. And you're just going to saw the doll in half. And it will place her on top of the folded books. That's the completed doll. So this is what the folds look like. After we finish folding all these folds, we end up with this skirt. I'll show you about the embellishing later. And we just fold it all and then set the doll's body up. But I'll take you step by step through that. So I'm going to pause and fold these pages and I'll come back. Okay, dear hearts, I've taken a rest from the book folding, and began to start working on the doll's hair. What you want to do is get the hair and the body embellished before you glue it onto the book, because it's harder to manipulate the doll once she's on the book, and you don't want to bend up the bottom of the pages. So what I'm doing is, I haven't really decided what hairstyle she is going to have, but this doll has some really hard to manage hair. The kid that had this one, I bought this doll and a pack of 6 dolls from the Goodwill, and they're been in a little bit of tough condition. The hair has been cut by the little girl who owned her and is kind of matted. So what I'm doing is putting some tacky glue in her hair to get it to position and hold it down. I couldn't get it to get straight, and I'm thinking of wrapping her hair in a African tradition, maybe make her a Kwanzaa doll. So I want to at least be able to get the hair up. So all I'm doing is taking the tacky glue and putting it in her hair and get the hair stiff in a position. And I'm just going to let that sit and harden there. It'll dry clear. And just smooth it around into the shape that I want. I think I'll go with the bun. I don't know if I'll keep the ponytail, but I do want it to go up. So I'm going to just stick my brush in some water and get it kind of cleaned off a little bit. And I'll show you the next step we have to do with the doll's body. Just let her hair dry. So I'm going to put her hands up in the air. I'm going to look around her body and try to make sure it's as smooth as it can be. If you have a piece of sandpaper, you could sand a little just to make sure it's smooth. It doesn't have to be perfect, just kind of smooth, kind of even. And what we're going to do is the pieces of book that we had left over, that we took some of the pages out that we didn't use, we're going to cut those up into strips. I think I want a lot of print on them, so those two look pretty good. And we're just going to make some strips out of those. I'm trying to get strips that have a lot of words on them. They don't have to be perfectly the same size, but generally, for the body corset that I made, I wanted it to be a little long, so I had strips that were a little bit long, and then around here, I kind of formed it to her body. So some of the pieces, you can decide if you want some without words for embellishing and design. You get to design your dress the way you want to design your dress. And I'm not quite sure. I kind of work with the doll to see where I'm going to go with it. Okay. And I'll take those strips and cut off the ends where there's no words and do them in little squares, a little wider squares, something like that size, and cut. Just a few, you don't need so many. Okay. Just gonna move these others to the side. I may be stopping the video for a while as clients come in and out. Just put these all to the side. Trying to keep the mess down. Okay. So what you want to do is take your tacky glue or PVA, whichever you're using, whatever you have, and I'm just going to use the cardboard cover and pour some down. You see that? Pour some tacky glue down. Get you down just a little bit lower. So I'm going to take the doll, and what I'm going to do is pretty much decoupage or paper mache her body with the paper. And so I have a little cup of water, because the brush sometimes gets really sticky. Wipe my brush off a little bit. And then basically take and glue around her body. I put a little under two. And then you take your strips and decoupage those on. You're probably going to need 2 or 3 layers, so you don't have to be perfect. I like a little more writing around the waist, so I'll be careful on the next layer to make sure that I have writing. Okay, oops. That's what I mean, your fingers can get stuck, and so I generally kind of brush my finger back off. And continue on. It takes a couple of layers so you can get smooth and set as you go. I'm going to continue to do that, and when I get done, I'll come back. I just want to pop back on and talk about working the bust area. It can be a little tricky, and so what I do is take the back of the brush and kind of mold around it, that first layer. And then I also wet the paper in the water so that's a little more pliable, and bend it a little bit before I put it on. And you can decide what kind of neckline do you want. Do you want a V, or do you want it closed? But wetting the paper and using the back of the brush, and even putting a couple slits in the side helps, just to get it to mold. Hope I'm getting a good shot for you. Then put the tacky glue and mold it down. Get some behind there. It's the trickier area, so you definitely will do a few layers of that to get it the way you want it. Just work with it till you get it where you want it. Don't get frustrated, just take your time with it. It gets better the more layers you put on, but the first layer is a little tricky. And I kind of like mine to line up across the top. If I can't get it on the first pass, I'll do it on the second. Just get a foundation the first time. Yeah, I just wanted to show you that the brush can be a good tool for molding. Okay, that's what she's looking like. And I'll decide how high up I want the sides to go. Okay, dear hearts, I've finished folding all the pages. What I'm doing now is finding the middle of the book, and that's right around where you tore the cover off, and I'm just putting some glue there. And then I'm gonna squish the book together. And form the skirt. Can you see that? Just squishing all the glue together. And that's our skirt part. The next step is just to take your doll. Mine is still kind of drying, and we're just going to sit her up there and finish embellishing her. But I think I'm going to finish decoupaging her a little bit more before I set her up there. I'm going to put another layer of decoupage on her and maybe do her hair, and then I'll come back and show you the doll put on. Okay, dear hearts, just putting a little glue on the top of the book fold, and gonna put a little on the bottom of the doll. Then I'm gonna look for the end I want to be the front and place her right in the middle. Next is my favorite part, which is the embellishing. It's my favorite part. I'm just adding a little glue. Make sure she's secure up there. I'm going to let her sit for a while and dry, and then I'll embellish her and come back and show you. There you go, dear heart. She's all completed. I've dressed her for winter. I hope you enjoyed this project as much as I did making it. I'll give you a quick spin of her full outfit. She's ready for winter. Until next time, have a great day. Bye.